International Women's Day, right from the very beginning, had the question of peace on the agenda. The first International Women's Day was only 3 years before the outbreak of the First World War. So it's always been part of the agenda, and today, I think, even more than many, many International Women's Days, is a time that women have to step up and reinvigorate our anti-war movement. So I don't know if you know this, but according to our Foreign Minister and our Prime Minister, Canada has a feminist foreign policy. So what they call a feminist foreign policy is that they say, quite rightly, that when women are involved, the chances of making peace and keeping peace are greater. And so they call on women to join. But what is it that they're calling on them to join? Because the problem is that their foreign policy has nothing to do with peace. Their foreign policy has everything to do with hitching Canada to the US war machine, to Trump's war machine, and to a US and NATO foreign policy that is based on the idea that what you can't control, you destroy. And so it's a very, very serious situation right now. I'm sure that you all saw at least part of the opening ceremony and closing ceremony of the Olympics, yes? So it's important because it's a peace Olympics. It's an Olympics where the whole world saw the striving of the people of Korea for reunification and peace. And I think it's very hard for us to understand what it would be like that you have not seen your family, since 1953, because your country has been divided. Many, many countries were partitioned by the US and other great powers. They partitioned India at the cost of millions of lives. They partitioned Vietnam. They partitioned Palestine. They partitioned Ireland. They partitioned Korea. And so that desire for reunification, our government is standing in opposition to it. And one of the things which is really important to bring out today is that they're speaking about diplomacy and peace, but they're trying to impose the same kind of sanctions that led to 1.5 million, most estimates are, people dying in Iraq because of the sanctions imposed. And the children are the ones who are the most affected. And it's the same sanctions which have been imposed on the DPRK or North Korea before, which led to hundreds of thousands of deaths, which led to malnutrition, which led to a decrease in the number of children who were vaccinated, hunger, you name it. And our country is presenting these kinds of sanctions as some kind of peaceful thing. Did you know that Canadian submarines are on the coast of North Korea? And yet, somehow, it's not us who's a threat to anyone. It's they who are supposed to be a threat to us. So it's a very important thing that we inform ourselves and that we take action. I'm an old hand at this, and I remember when we organized to bring the Vietnamese women to Canada, and what an occasion it was when the women from North Vietnam came to Canada and met with women from Canada, the US, and all over to together work for peace. We may not have that opportunity now, but we certainly have the opportunity to tell our government that we want our government to be a factor for peace. We want to make Canada a zone for peace. We need an anti-war government. And very specifically right now, we want the Korean people to be able to sort out the problem on their own, by their own initiative, without any foreign interference. That means we stand for removal of all the foreign troops from the Korean Peninsula. We call for Canada to pressure the US to sign a peace treaty, which it has refused to do since the armistice in 1953, and to end all sanctions. And we hope that our Member of Parliament who's here today will take up this cause, and that we will ourselves speak to our Members of Parliament. We will organize, so there's petitions at the back. It's a petition with basically these points. Not only would I ask you to sign it, but also take some petitions, fill them up, sign them, and send them to the address on the petition. And let's work together to make Canada a zone for peace. Thank you very much.